Okay, what up, everybody? Today we're going to go over communications. We're going to go over how when someone, calls 911, what happens when, say, someone pulls a fire alarm, what happens there. We're going to go over that stuff. I'm going to play a clip of a fire in somewhere. I don't know where, but we're going to Salem, I think. No, I don't freaking know. But anyway, we're gonna play a clip. I'm going to tell you the goods and the bads of the communication that happened. And then we'll get into a PowerPoint and we'll talk about kind of the local stuff, our own procedures, what we want to see from the AOs, what we want to see from the officers, and also the firefighters. So without further ado, here we go.
Alarm fire sending out box 6111. Port address is 170 Salem Street, located between Blanchard and Parker. Liberty engine 689, ladder 4 squad 1. Call came in.
If you guys get a chance, type in Fireground Communications, structure fire, and listen to some of the radio traffic. And once you kind of, you'll start to learn what's good and what's bad. The beginning of this one is pretty good, and I'll kind of point out what's good about it.
And from PD, saying that the neighbor 170 Salem had fire in the living room. They were currently trying to get everyone out the house.
21 has that 170 Salem. Give me a fireground channel.
Read it. 170 Salem. Fire.
A little bit different in some areas. They have their own fire ground channels with their own fire dispatcher, and then that dispatcher works for them. It's different here. Our dispatchers do all fire med, so we won't get unless we have a huge incident. We won't get an individual person for that.
Fireground. Door companies on arrival. Fireground channel. Door companies. Fireground channel on arrival.
44 981 44 is on scene. 3-story type 5. We have fire showing. We have wires arcing. Get the electric company on scene too.
We're on scene 3-story type 5. Fire showing. Wires arcing. We'll notify the electric company 98121.
So the good thing about that, it was clear, it was concise. You knew exactly what you were rolling up on. 3-story, flame showing. He could have went into a little bit more detail, but not bad. Not bad at all.
21 has that. 39 is on scene.
39, you're on scene.
85 stage. Blanchard Salem.
85 your stage.
21 981. Give me a working fire. Second pump. Get engine 9 a feeder.
Receive 21 working fire.
All right, we got water on the fire.
Fire.
Dave Swarbrick said he might have thought someone in the window in the third
We got
floor.
water on the fire.
Ladder 4 is going to take care of it. Can you get us a feeder?
Peter.
21 to 38. Can you get 39 a feeder? Squad 1, can you do a search?
One thing I don't like about this communication and this officer that's giving orders, he's asking questions. Can you do this? Can you do that? That's not how you do it. You have to give the order. Give a clear and concise order. It's up to that person that's taking that order to say, no, I'm not able to do that due to safety.
85 has that. 38, how you making out? Working on it, Chief. Give me an ambulance to the scene. Rescue's being made over ladders.
Receive car 20. Well, call large general. Rescue being made over the ladder.
Building, just be advised, we only have a quarter tank of water left.
Water. The one thing you got to realize too is this is where the inter-isolate search is key. If that was a really active fire, we got to be real careful when we make that entry to rescue that victim. We got to be real careful to make sure that we isolate that area so that we don't cause a chimney effect.
85 has that. We're still making a push to the third floor.
21 to 44. How many you got up there?
Thank God the white helmet's here. Okay. Well, that's all I had for that one. I just wanted to. I don't like the idea that.
Hit that blue.
I don't like the idea that they were asking questions when they were giving orders, and also there's too much chatter, a little bit too much chatter when it comes to giving that order, and we'll go over that right now. So anyway, so radio communications. This is how it goes. So somebody calls 911. Well, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about dispatch. We're going to the use and understanding of terms of etiquette, clear text. Okay, we're going to talk about clear text, different radios. We're going to talk about different radios, and all that other stuff. So somebody calls 911. What ends up happening? There's a few ways that 911 gets notified. The dispatch center, the one that dispatches us out. There's a few ways that happens. Right. The first way is somebody calls. Obviously, grandma's sick, my head's cut off, the baby lit the house on fire, whatever that might be. Somebody calls, right? Somebody says, hey, I see a fire. Hey, this dude's head's cut off, or yeah. The other way is these I've fallen and I can't get up buttons. Life alert, or whatever they call them. Basically, what ends up happening there is that signal goes to a call center, which is not dispatch. It's a different call center that monitors all of these things. And then that call center then calls 911 for that area. And then 911 will dispatch us properly. The other way is if a fire alarm is pulled, or if smoke is called, or smoke alarm goes off within a building or whatever. Same thing. That goes to a call center. And then that call, you can set it up a few different ways with a fire alarm, whether it goes directly to the dispatch center or it goes to a monitoring service. The monitoring service then calls 911. And that's usually these people in business outfits that sit in a cubicle all day, with headsets on. So that's how that happens. A signal goes off. These fire alarms, they have to have their own dedicated line, phone line, that goes directly to that service. So that's a fire code thing. Anyway. So what happens at dispatch? The 911 call comes in. Okay. There's lots of desks in there. There's one guy over here on the left. He's doing law. There's guy over on the other end. He's doing med dispatch, fire dispatch. Kind of depends on the dispatch center and how they operate. If they have a lot of people in big areas, they'll assign a tactical channel or a dispatch channel specifically to that incident. And then one person is involved with that incident, one dispatcher, and they then can dispatch things out accordingly. That doesn't happen here. We don't have that ability. We can't even keep people at the desk. They don't want to work. The hours are messed up. They don't pay well. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, they can't keep people up there, so they're constantly looking for folks. So what ends up happening is the call comes in and it goes to this person here, okay? And you can't see it because whoa. Okay, so it goes to that person there, right? So what ends up happening, that person takes the call, and then it goes through, they end up getting all the information that's needed. They type up, they build what they call a run card, okay, or a call for service, whatever the call for service might be. They type it all in there. They get all the information, the address, the person's name, anything pertinent information that they could do. I was going to try to get some 911 calls for this, but it's not going to happen. Anyway, they take all the information, type it all up into here, and then all of a sudden they send it over to the fire med desk. This is how it works in our area, okay? They send it over to the fire med desk. That fire med dispatcher picks it up, says, okay, this is for the Evergreen area, obviously. So then they will type it into their little thing. It'll come up with the units that we have built on our run cards. So structure fire is going to end up being, a first alarm structure fire is going to end up being our engine, an ambulance, and mutual aid engine from Kalispell, okay, or a mutual aid engine from Preston. Generally, it's going to be us, ambulance engine, and another engine coming. Or if it's non-hydranted, it'll be us, a tender from another area, an engine from another area. Anyway, that's how the run cards are built. So they'll type it in, they'll hit go, then they'll hit our tones. That's what these little buttons are. Those are our frequencies. This is kind of a generic one. This isn't specific, but this is kind of what it looks like. I don't know. It may have changed over the last couple of years. But they would hit that tone and it would tone us out, and then they would dispatch us. Run cards and call for service types. Don't know why the slide's in here, but apparently that's what we're going to talk about now. Structure fire, first alarm. It's going to be, and we kind of over the last little bit changed that up. I will get I know people have been asking, especially the AOs, like, hey, what are we getting on our first alarm? Okay, what are we getting on our second alarm? I will try to come up with exactly what that is, but generally it's double what that previous alarm is, right? So on this alarm, we have 831, 821, and a mutual aid engine, right? So if I strike out a second alarm, I'm probably going to double this up, okay? And what ends up happening within our district, we have what we call quadrants, okay? So our district is quadranted off into 6 sections. They call them quadrants, but anyway, up north, we're going to get an engine from Columbia Falls or Whitefish or the airport, okay? Down south, we're going to get one from Creston. We're going to get one from South Kalispell. We're going to get one from Kalispell. We're always going to get one from Kalispell. Up to Rose Crossing, I believe, is what we did. So you'll know that we should have a mutual aid coming on that first alarm. And then the right thing to do if needed more resources is to ask dispatch, give me a second alarm, give me a third alarm, whatever the next alarm is. They'll do that. Don't say, I have a structure fire. Give me all the way up to a third alarm. Because what they'll do is they'll just type in third alarm, and then third alarm will come up with, it'll come up and say, well, first and second alarm's not available. So it's going to just go to the third alarm. And then you won't get all the resources you think you're going to get. You have to do it in succession. We tested that during the MCI drill at the airport a few years back. And so, yeah, so we tested that at the airport a few years back. Didn't work like we wanted it to. You have to do it properly. And I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay. So, yeah, first alarm, second alarm. Moving on. If that was kind of awkward and weird, that's because of Cole. He called me in the middle of this. What a jerk. Anyway, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, second alarm. It's basically double. We got 832 coming, 822 coming. We're going to have more mutual aid coming than this shows. So we will have our second engine, our second ambulance, and mutual aid trucks. I will come up with that exact list for everybody. I'll try to get it. It's hard to do through dispatch what exactly that is. Calls for service types: structure fire, recreation, medical BLS red, medical BLS yellow. You guys know all that. Medical ALS, MVA. We got MVA extrication. We got chimney fires, water rescue. I don't know why I'm saying this. You guys know all this. Commonly used radio talk, responding or en route, on scene, can handle, returning. These are things, and the reason we bring these up is because these are things everybody understands, right? You say responding, we know what you're doing. On scene, I know what's up. Can handle, you don't need me. I'll stay home. I'll stay in bed. I don't care. In quarters, we don't use that much. Nobody cares about that. I don't get, as long as you're in service, you're in service. In and out of service. Terminate times. Terminate times are huge. Not huge, I shouldn't say that, but we used to terminate command, command terminated. And we would do that because basically it tells dispatcher or other people that there's not someone on scene currently that knows everything, not necessarily knows everything, but has been in command for a while. So that's kind of what that's all about. We don't use that anymore. I don't use it anymore. There's really no need for it because everybody kind of knows what's going on. It's for your bigger incidents, your other areas. They use that quite a bit. Available on scene is huge. We need to do this more. I think our ambulance sits on scene sometimes for a little longer than it needs to, or is on scene and it could be available. Same with the engine on these medical calls. If you know you guys got her whipped, you might as well go available. Okay, when using your radio etiquette, use clear text, okay? Don't use 10 codes. Use clear text, use plain English, okay? Everybody knows English here. That's all the further I'm going to go with that. Keep your transmission short and concise to the point. You kind of on that call we just watched, the guy kept it short and concise. A little bit, he had a little bit of overlay in some of the things he was saying, but it wasn't bad. We knew what was needed. His size up was good. His commands. I don't like the asking questions part, but that's fine. Maintain a pressure. No cussing. We've had that a couple of times, boys. No cussing. No. Craig cussed one time. Anyway, no cursing, no swearing, none of that. So, or just try to, none of that. Be professional, have a good attitude. Think before you speak. Take a second. Think about what you're going to say. I do this all the time. I'm the worst at it. I get on the radio, I click the button. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to say. Think before you speak. And dead air is annoying. So true. I do that all the time. I grab the mic, key it up, and I'm like, I don't even think. I'm like, oh shit. Oh, so make sure you're know what you're going to say before you say it. Speak clearly. The other one is keep the radio off your face and no screaming. When you're in your mask, don't scream. Just talk loudly. Don't scream. When you scream, I can't hear a damn thing you're saying. So make sure keep it off your face. Stick it to your helmet glass. If somebody can't hear you, stick it to your helmet glass and talk normal. Okay. I'll be able to hear you just fine. Scene size ups. This is Fireground Commo. So scene size ups, reports on conditions, size ups. I use stop them. Okay. It's a really quick way to remember how to do a size up. Not everybody uses this, but I do. Establishing command, the use of tactical frequencies, and requesting additional resources. Couple of things about emergency traffic. Emergency traffic is used to report an emergency, but it's on the fire ground or off the fire ground. It's specific to the calls. It's specific to us. Don't say emergency traffic unless you have an emergency. A couple of terms in the emergency world. Abandon. Abandon means withdraw immediately. Okay. Come out to a safe area. Get out of the hot zone. That means drop your hose. I don't care if you drop your tools as long as you can get out safe. But generally this is done when command realizes hey, structure's starting to collapse a little bit, starting to seem unsafe. Everybody get out of there. Okay. Mayday in itself, the term Mayday that's a whole other class, but that's an emergency traffic, deal. If you hear Mayday, don't talk on the radio. So that's a whole deal itself. Withdraw, is the calm and orderly withdrawal of personnel. Collect your tools. Okay. Evacuate. So a lot of folks get evacuate and abandon the same. It's not. Okay. Evacuate just means get all the residents out. Everybody evacuate the area. That doesn't mean you're out of the area. It just means, hey, let's evacuate everybody. So if I show up on scene and I say, hey, make sure, everybody's evacuated. That doesn't mean you all have to evacuate. When I say make sure everybody's abandoned the structure, that means you need to all get out. So don't confuse evacuate and abandon. Okay. All right. So what do we want to hear on a size up? This is just the normal size up. I use stop 'em. Okay. Size, type, observations, percent involvement, exposures, and then your mode of operation. Okay. And then to tag on to that, we want to know what the radio traffic's going to be on. So what command channel you want to use, and also any additional resources you might need. Okay. So make sure we're doing that. Make sure we have our additional resources, and then make sure we have a good channel that we can work off of. Sometimes you might have to change up your channel. Sometimes you might have to use a water supply channel on red or a different channel, and that's not a problem. Sometimes you just have to if you have a bigger incident, make sure you get that traffic away. You need to have that traffic for yourself so you can hear what's going on in the hot zone. So stop them. Let's go back over that one more time. Size, type, observation. So size, I've got a medium commercial structure, type, that's the commercial structure. Observations, I've got smoke and fire. If you have fire, don't tell me you have smoke. I don't care. I know you have smoke with fire, okay? So we got our observations. Wow. Percent involvement, 25, 50%. Exposures, I've got, schoolhouse to the east. Let's get structure protection on that. Where are we at? Exposures. Mode of operation. Mode of operation is basically like, hey, are we going offensive or are we going defensive? Generally, it's with the size of the department we have. Generally, it's defensive first, and then offensive after we get a number of people or we get water supply, stuff like that. So that size up can be a whole different deal, but a whole different class as well. Let's see here. Fireground identifiers. Okay, command operations. Generally, if it's me and Craig on scene, if I show up on scene first, I'll be in command. Generally, if Craig rolls up, he'll be operations. Understand that communications from the hot zone will then go through operations. We sometimes forget that on scenes. We as officers need to do a better job of identifying those people and those roles. As soon as Craig rolls up, I need to get on the radio and say, hey, 801 is going to be operations at this time. And then as you're fighting fire or whatever, who you need to direct your communications through. If it's then operations, then we'll talk to me or whatever, command after that, right? Safety's huge. Generally, we try to pick somebody that's been there a while. Like, I don't know, like some of Creston's guys are good. Kalispell's chiefs are good. Try to pick a safety. I know Craig wants to go over a lot of this for the officers about like kind of this structure fire kind of time frame and benchmarks throughout a structure fire and what to look for, what to do. Accountability is huge. I was only bringing that up because, like, if you're as a firefighter, it's your job to make sure that your tag gets on that truck, and we're missing that. We need to get back to it. Your tag's got to go to the officer in front. Tag goes on anytime you jump in the out engine, because you never know when you're going to go to a structure fire. So if you hop in that engine, you're going to a medical call, tag up front. Okay. Give it to whoever the officer is. Officer puts it on the deal. You guys roll out, and then you get on the medical call, and then you go to a structure fire. You've all forgotten to do your tags because you're excited. Your blood pressure's up. Your heart rate's rolling. You forgot. Now, when you show up on scene and I show up and I start to do accountability, building collapses. I don't know where everybody's at. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's where. So it's very important that we get back into the accountability mode. So make darn sure that if you're in command or if you're in one of the operational roles and you need somebody to help you with radio traffic, the accountability person is pretty huge too. But also it starts with the firefighter for accountability. Okay, exterior operations, interior operations, ventilation, water supply, exposure, medical rehab, staging. These are all common identifiers. Make sure that if you're gonna have somebody be something on the fire ground, make sure that you announce that to the world. It's important. That way everybody knows what's up. Effective incident communications, critically important if emergency scene activities are to be conducted safely and effectively. Company officers play a key role because they transmit and receive the majority of the incident scene messages. So what's interesting about that is if you notice that, I think most of the chaotic radio transmission happens within the first 3 minutes of the incident. So you're talking to dispatch, you're talking to the whatever your orders you're giving to your crew, you're talking to, whatever your command wants. Things are being established within that first 3 minutes. It's important that we utilize these fundamentals in communication the best we can, and it sets up for a good scene. Good communication sets up for a positive scene for sure. So procedures department should have communications that define clear text. Progress reports, CAN reports are huge, or status reports. So I say both of those because CAN reports are generally utilized interiorly in the hot zone. And then status reports are generally used. I would ask for a status for like an operations or a Alpha Bravo operations manager. That's where I would get my statuses from, or somebody that's not really in the hot zone, but yet overseeing things. That's where I'd get a status from. But a CAN report, conditions, actions, needs, would then, I would be getting that information from the interior or whoever's in that hot zone. Okay, radio communications company officers and the AOs are responsible for making sure that every member of their crew is trained on basic radio operations and maintenance, radio frequencies. Radio frequencies is huge. I'm not so good at it with these new radios. I don't know how to turn shit to what. So it's important that I need to go through and make sure that I know how to operate that radio. I know that some of you guys, when I'm like, hey, how do you do this with this radio? You guys are like, this guy's been here how long and he doesn't know how to operate a radio? Well, I'm terrible at it. Okay. Okay. Radios we use mobile data terminals. Those are huge right now. We're starting to use those for the medical calls going route. I will say, and I'll say it in this message, make sure that we're not utilizing those on medical calls outside of Evergreen. Okay. Make sure that we're only using the mobile data terminals within Evergreen. I'm not sure where we're at with Kalispell, but I know that Creston, they had they had a medical call the other morning. The data terminal was used. Wait a second. Yeah. So you have to use it, right? You can use it, but make sure you're getting on the radio and communicating to dispatch that you're en route or on scene in mutual aid calls. Okay. Preston had no idea when and where our ambulance was the other day for a call. And that's nobody's fault. They're just used to hitting that button, right? Just make sure we get on the radio when we go in mutual aids. Make sure that way they know, oh, yep, I got an ambulance coming. Oh, because they don't use mobile data terminals. So, and then lets them know they're on scene, stuff like that. So make sure you use the radio when you're going to a mutual aid call. And that might change as people get data terminals. Okay. Use clear text. Don't use 10 codes. Okay. I don't even know why that's in here, but 10 codes is like 10-4, 10-6, 10-8, 10-58, whatever. I don't know half of them. All I know is 10-4. I know you're good, but make sure that you're not using 10 codes. There's no reason for them on the fire ground, right? Officers should monitor crews radio usage and ensure proper procedures are followed and messages are short and simple. Short and simple is huge with radio traffic. Direct orders. All fireground direction should be in form of a direct order. So don't just chat. Basically, that's just saying don't just chatter on the radio. Like, should be an order. Should be like, hey, make entry, alpha side, left-hand search. You kind of heard like, give me a search. He asked them if they could do a search, but it was still concise. It was still short. Make sure it's short. Make sure it's with an order. Oh, the other one that I forgot to mention on there. Previous. Companies should repeat the transmission to ensure that it has been properly received. So parroting is huge, okay? And you can't really see that on the screen, but parroting is huge. Make sure that you're parroting what's going on so that whoever, if I give you an order and you repeat it back to me, if you repeat it wrong, I can then say, nope, this is what I said. That way we know you're going to do it right. Okay. The 5 C's of communication: conciseness, clarity, confidence, control, and capability. Okay. These are all huge. Make your message conciseness. Make your messages task orientated. Direct messages to companies and not individuals. Okay. Unless it's coming from command. Keep messages specific. Clarity. Use your standard terms and everyday language. Basically clear text. Messages are kept simple. Communicate only one task at a time. So that's true too. I mean, you got to be careful with saying, hey, make entry on the alpha side. Also do a search in the back bedroom. Also get me a order of fries on your way out. So be real careful on how many orders you're giving to people. Try to keep it down to one. Okay. Confidence. Use calm, natural tone. Okay. Get too excited. We all do it. When we get on scene, we want to give a size up. We're like, oh my God. Make sure you're staying calm. If you keep yourself calm and you've based that mentality on keeping your level low and hey, calm. Okay. You're going to stay calm throughout the rest of the incident. Speak at a controlled rate. Also think before you speak. Okay. Companies will react with more confidence when confidence is communicated to them. That's 100% true. If I came to you and I was like, hey guys, man, I don't know if we can actually put this fire out. You guys might want to give it a shot. Or do I come to you and say, hey, get in there and get that fire put out? If I come into you with some confidence, you're gonna be like, heck yeah, let's get it. If I come to you with an American flag on my back and I'm like, hey guys, let's go. You're going to go do it versus like, anyway, moving on. Control, communication control is responsibility of company officers. Oh, communication control is the responsibility of the company officers. I need to learn how to speak today. Identify who is being called and who is calling. That's huge. Exercise emotional control needed to remain calm under stress. That's huge too. Emotional maturity is to set good example. Yeah, I can think of a few people. 100%. Keep it calm. Keep it concise. Be level. Okay. I know it. Don't be monotone, but just don't let your emotions get ahead of you. Okay. Don't panic, basically. Capability, effective communication depends on capable, well-trained senders and receivers. Must be effective listeners as well as speakers. This is true. I'm obviously not a very good speaker, hence this entire thing. But this is true. I mean, I'm going to have all the confidence in the world if I know that you're communicating well with me, if you're keeping your if I know that you can do the job and you know that I've done the job, you're going to take that order a lot easier, right? Versus somebody that just got in the department, 2 weeks ago and was like, hey guys, let's do this. And you're like, no. So it's important that you're capable of doing things. I don't know if I explained. Okay, this is old. Ignore some of this. I should have changed this before I went into this. But our numbering system. So James is now 804. That's different. Okay, so we have our officer roles, which is 801 is Craig, 803 is me, James is 804. Officers are in that 10 area, right? So from 801 to 809 is our officer roles. Each fire department in the valley has its own numbers. Kalispell has 6, Evergreen has 8, Smith Valley has 9, 10 is West Valley. So when you hear 10 this going en route or 9 this going en route, that means you'll kind of have an understanding of what engine or what ambulance is coming. So this is kind of a breakdown of what each apparatus is numbered at. So for us, we have the 20 series is ambulances, 30s is engines, ladders is the 40 series, rescues is 50s. So if you hear 821 go en route, that means it's an ambulance. 841 is a ladder truck. That's how the numbering system works in the valley. Not everybody uses that properly, so you'll have generally it comes to like when it's a rescue rig. Rescue to me is a large rescue truck. That's what you think of. Sometimes it ends up being a brush truck, and that department called it a rescue. So sometimes you have to kind of understand what you're getting a little bit. The 90 series, those are going to be water tenders. 80s is brush truck, special rescue, like boats and what else? Boats and command vehicles, not command vehicles, but like special stuff. Anyway, that's going to be your 70 series. Different types of radios. You've got base station, which is in the station, mobile, which is in your vehicles, portables, which is your handhelds. That's it. That's all we got. So I don't know. I hope this was helpful. If it wasn't, how many minutes do we go? We went a little bit, 30 minutes or so, maybe a little longer. Now that I have to splice 2 together because Cole tried to call me in the middle of this. Anyway, the next one is going to end up being probably fire behavior. I'm going to let Craig do the benchmark one. So, because he's wanting to do that for the structure fires. But anyway, hopefully these trainings are helpful. Hope you guys like them. If you don't, I don't really care. Peace.